What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to DigiNated, your one-stop shop for all things Digimon TCG related. Most of you know this, but Bandai held an event this past weekend, the July 17th Evo Cup, and your boy Nated was lucky enough to take first place in that event. That's right, we won the Omnimon, ladies and gentlemen. So we actually piloted Green OTK, one of my personal favorites. Green does so many different things that no other deck can do. You make your opponent play into your board. You can play your opponent differently. So I'm going to tell you about some of my tournament results, how the rounds went. There were 7 rounds, 256 players. We went undefeated 2-0 every single round, except the 6th round we lost one game. We went 2-1. So round 1 was yellow or gray match. We won that 2-0. Round 2 was a green OTK mirror match. We won that. He dropped the first Nidhogg. I came back with the second Nidhogg, and it was just game from there. The next 3, 4, and 5 were all yellow or Greymon decks. 2-0 all of them. Not too difficult. That matchup's a little tough. It just kind of, you have to get it in your favor. Round 6 was red yellow security control. That was definitely my hardest matchup. You can't really OTK through Gaia Forces, and Nidhogg doesn't really do much in that matchup other than get rid of their Valor arms. Round 7, we played against another yellow war Greymon player. He kind of bricked game 2. Game 1 was kind of close. Game 2 he bricked, but it was still fun nonetheless. And we got the W, 7-0. Dropped 1 game. Green's just a really good deck. Don't sleep on Green. So without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So, this is going to be, it's a fairly standard Green deck list, but I will explain in depth my picks for these cards and why I picked these cards and how they really affected certain matchups. So, to start things off, we got the 4 babies. The 4 Minomons and the 1 Motimon. Motimon never really came up. Minomon was very, very clutch in like the mirror matches. Most ultimates you'll see are 7k DP, so your Lilas and your Blossoms really just beat over any other 7,000s. It's just really, really, really good to have that left under your Digimon. Next up, we've got 4 of the Promo Palmon. This card is insane. This lets you, everything right now in the meta is 11,000 DP, so you really need the Palmon whenever you're swinging into security for your Grand Kawaga to stay, because you want your Grand Kawaga to stay on board so you can follow up with a Chaosmon either that turn or next turn. So if you can get rid of your opponent's stack with your Grand Kawaga instead of swinging into security, you just leave it on board and you can run over whatever they play next turn with your Chaosmon. Next up, we have 4 of the 2-drop Argamon. This card is so good. If I could play more of this, I would. And I'm thinking about playing some Goblinmon in this. So a lot of times you're left at 3. Winning the game is all about just choking your opponent if they don't have another tamer. This card also, in like the red-yellow security matchup, this card is insane. If they don't have a TK on board and you can choke them at 1, you're forcing them to make play. Like they have to play like their Magna Angemons, their Mistymons. They give you a lot of memory. And when you're playing green, a lot of memory can pretty much just mean game. So I love the 2-drop Argamon. It's fantastic. Next up, we have 3 of the hard play Tentomon. This card is so good. We only whiffed on it twice during the whole event. So it's on play. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a green Digimon, add it to your hand. Doesn't matter if it's Nid, Grand Kawaga, doesn't matter if it's a rookie, you add it to your hand. So in the tournament, we only whiffed on it twice. We had a Mimi once and a Chaosmon once. So it really wasn't that bad. I love this card. If I could play more of it, I would. But it's really hard to make room in this deck for any other cards. Next up, we have 2 of the Lalamons. 100% my least favorite card throughout the whole tournament. This never came up, and when it did come up, adding it to my hand was pointless because I had enough rookies at that point. Right now, this card can be dropped for probably like more Terriermons, more Tentomons. Next set though, Lalamon definitely gets better. So yeah, this card can probably go. Next up, we've got 2 Terriermon, one of the MVPs of the day. This card was so good. When you're playing against yellow or Greymon, and you just play Terriermon, if they're not able to get up into their War Gray and pop your Terriermon, you're just miles ahead because they can't do any kind of blinding ray shenanigans. You can run over their Valdor arms with your Chaosmon that's boosted with a Minimon, and they don't get any kind of memory from that. This card is insane. Going forward, 3 to 4 this is going to be required, especially in BT5. That's it for all the rookies. We play 15 rookies. Next up, we've got 4 of the 1-cost blocker Kabuterimon. This is pretty self-explanatory. You want to play as many 1-drops as possible. It's a blocker. The difference between a 5k and a 6k DP blocker really isn't that big of a difference in this meta. War Greymon doesn't care if you're 5k or 6k. He's going to pop you regardless. So next up, we've got 4 of the 1-cost Vegemon. This card is so good. Not only because of the 1-drop, the 1-cost Evo, the 4-drop hard play actually won me a game, game 1 against the yellow player. He played a TK to in turn on. He was sitting on 0, played a TK, put me at 4, and this allowed me to go and hard play the Veggie, Digivolve up into a Blossomont, and I drew into the piece I needed to win the game. So, and then next up we have 2 Woodmon. It's just another blocker. Really, considering taking this card out, it's really only in there for like the Rookie Rush matchup. It did come up in their mirror match whenever he went to Nidhogg me, because I had previously hard played the Woodmon the last turn, just to have another body on board because of where his security stack was and everything. So he couldn't Nidhogg the Woodmon away. So it came up that one time. Other than that, it never came up the rest of the day. My personal tech choice for the event, I think this card is insane for green. One of the best cards in the deck. 100% one of the MVPs of the day. That is 2 of the 2 Evo Togemon. So it's really a +2 because you're going to draw for the Evo and then you reveal the top 3. You get to add any level 5 or higher Digimon, which means you get to add your Grand Hercs, or your Grand Kawagas, you get to add your Chaosmons, you get to add your Nidhoggs. Being able to search your Nidhogg like that and go up the ladder, the Evo ladder, and search out your Chaosmon, I mean, that card won me so many games. A lot of people think this meta is all about sitting in the raising area, which it is for the most part, but if you're able to be aggressive and bring this out and Digivolve into it and plus off of it and get pieces that you need to just build back up over here, you can make your opponent play into your board so easy. That's it for all the champions. We played 12 champions. So onto the ultimates. We play 5 Blossomon. This card is so good. I mean, being able to Digivolve for free is one of the most broken mechanics in this game, if you ask me. And it's just a free Evo. You draw for it. I mean, you can go from level 3. If your opponent gives you 1 memory, you can go from level 3 all the way to Nid with 1 memory if you have a Blossomon. That happens so many times this tournament. I would just go from 3 or 4 all the way to Nid and just win the game. Next we have 2 Lilamons. This didn't come up just a whole lot. I don't think I would take it out. It gets a whole lot better next set. But right now, I think 2 is fine. I mean, there's nothing else you really want to play in this deck other than the Lilamons. But it didn't really come up too much. But the card is good. 2 Cherrymon. Cherrymon, very good card. 2-drop Evo level 5 to blocker. There were a lot of times where I would go into my Cherrymons and then I have a Minomon underneath it, and they'd have something suspended that was like a 7k ulti. I would just swing over it, not lose any memory, anything like that. So in that regard, Cherrymon's super good, super clutch. And then of course, 1 level 5 Arcamon. Card's good. It belongs at 1. Blossomon probably needs to get his well. Digidorpson's really good. Not broken, but I mean it's good. That's it for the level 5s. We played 9 level 5s. On to the level 6s, of course, for the Big Daddy himself, Grand Kawagamon. This card is so good. If you have like a Palmon underneath your Grand Kawagamon and you're Digibursting twice, you can give the jamming security type +2 to a rookie or whatever you want to give it to. A lot of times you're giving it to the Grand Kawagamon itself so you can follow up with a Chaosmon to finish off their board. But to be honest with you, I played this deck more of like a control deck this past weekend, because a lot of times I would leave my Grand Kalaga sitting on board instead of swinging to their security, or I would like swing over their Digimon with it and then leave it there so I could Chaos Mon the next turn, whatever they decided to go into, just to clear their board again. So it's always kind of just sitting. There's multiple times where I would not swing at security with Grand Kalaga. I would just leave it sitting there and follow up the next turn with a Chaos Mon. And then the MVP of the deck, of course, 2 Nidhogg Mon. Nidhogg, top 3 most broken cards in the game. This card clears boards, I mean, for free. I mean, it's just so good. No need to explain the Nidhogg. And then for our level 7s, just 3 Chaos Mon. The fact that this effect resolves on your turn before you pass over your opponent, and you can swing over unsuspended Digimon, I mean, it's just so good. That's it for the Digimon. Then we play, of course, Team Mimi. This game, this card actually won me several matchups as well. Just being able to hatch during your hatching phase, Digivolve over your rookie, tap a Mimi to raise and swing for game is just so good. And that was another reason why, like, sometimes I would leave Nidhogg or Grand Kalaga on board instead of going into my Chaos Mon, because he is a white Digimon, so Mimi doesn't care. Like, I mean, you can't use the Mimi with the Chaos Mon. So that came up a lot. There was a lot of times where I just left Digimon, like my level 6 is sitting on board, so I could abuse the Mimi and go into Chaos Mon the following turn. And then we have 2 Needle Spray. No need to explain Needle Spray, really. I think it's better than Flower Cannon personally, just because of the security effect to add it to hand. It actually never came up in my matches, but Needle Spray is probably the preference there. And then for the last card of the deck, Hidden Potential Discovered. There's a reason why it's at 1. Probably needs to be at 0. I resolved this card 3 or 4 times this weekend. One time I actually used it for a Chaos Mon for 1 cost. My opponent didn't know that you could do that because Chaos Mon's a white Digimon. Yes, you can do that. And so that card is just absolutely broken. So that is it for the deck profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck to all you green players. Remember, Pepper Breath that like button, Blue Blaster that subscribe button. Keep it digital.